Jealousy gets talked about in Filipino foreigner relationships like it is some built in trait. Like the second a Filipina enters a relationship, she automatically becomes suspicious, possessive, and dramatic. That is the lazy version of the conversation. It is simple, easy to repeat, and usually wrong. The better question is not, are Filipinas jealous? The better question is, what is actually happening underneath the jealousy when it shows up? Because jealousy usually does not appear out of nowhere. It usually grows out of fear, insecurity, comparison, mixed signals, poor communication, old wounds, or a relationship dynamic that already feels unstable. And when people skip all of that and jump straight to stereotypes, they miss the real reason the problem is happening. Jealousy is not uniquely Filipino, it is human. Women everywhere can feel it, men everywhere can feel it. The difference is usually not whether the emotion exists. The difference is how it comes out, how it is handled, and whether the people in the relationship even know how to talk about it clearly. That is where a lot of Filipino foreigner couples start struggling. Many Filipinos grow up in homes where feelings are not explained well. People are expected to stay respectful, avoid direct conflict, swallow discomfort, and keep the peace even when something hurts. So instead of learning how to say, that bothered me, or I felt insecure when that happened, a lot of people learn how to go quiet, act strange, withdraw, hint, sulk, or wait for the other person to somehow magically understand what is wrong. That creates a very specific problem in adult relationships. The emotion is real, but the communication around the emotion is weak. So now the foreign partner is dealing with the mood, the tone, the silence, the tempo, the weird energy, the repeated questioning, the sudden emotional swings, but not always getting a clear explanation for what triggered any of it. From the outside, it gets labeled jealousy. Sometimes that label fits. Sometimes what you are really looking at is delayed communication mixed with insecurity. And yes, there are Filipinas who are just plain jealous. No need to romanticize that. Some people use jealousy as a shortcut to reassurance. Some use it to get attention. Some use it because it is the only way they know how to feel chosen. Some use it because they are controlling. Some use it because they are projecting their own bad behavior onto the other person. That exists too. But that is not the same thing as saying Filipinas are just naturally jealous. One big reason jealousy can show up more loudly in Filipino foreigner relationships is comparison culture. A lot of Filipinos grow up being compared to other people nonstop. Siblings, cousins, classmates, neighbors, other kids at school, other people's daughters, other people's sons. You can do something good and still hear why it was not perfect. You can succeed and still get measured against somebody else. And over time, that can quietly teach a very painful lesson that approval is fragile and love can be lost if someone else performs better. If you grow up always feeling like your place can be taken, then even ordinary things in a relationship can start feeling dangerous. Because once it enters a romantic relationship, it can turn into fear of replacement. Not always because there is a real threat, but because comparison already feels normal in the nervous system. That matters a lot. Then add one more layer, the man is a foreigner. Sometimes strangers flirt. Sometimes friends make comments. Sometimes people openly joke about how many women must be interested in him. A foreign man stands out in the Philippines. In some areas more than others, but he stands out. People look, people notice. That can wear on a person. Not because she is crazy, but because the message keeps repeating itself. If you are not careful, someone else will be. If you do not hold his attention, someone else might. If you are not enough, somebody else could step in. Even a confident woman can get tired of carrying that background noise. Then social media comes in and makes everything worse. The Philippines lives on social media. Relationships are watched there, measured there, compared there, and sometimes quietly damaged there. Likes, follows, comments, old photos, friend requests, new followers, DMs, all of it can start carrying emotional meaning far beyond what the other partner intended. And because people here see so many highlight reels, foreign partners giving gifts, couples traveling, women posting their perfect relationship, it creates silent pressure. Why do they look happier than us? Why does she get flowers and I do not? Why does that man post his girl proudly? Why is that foreigner taking his partner everywhere? What if someone prettier, younger, or more fun is getting his attention? Those thoughts do not need to be logical to feel powerful. They just need enough insecurity underneath them. Past betrayal matters too. Maybe she was cheated on before. Maybe she grew up around a broken home. Maybe she watched men disappear. Maybe she learned from experience that love is unstable and that promises are easier to make than keep. So now something small happens in the present, a delayed reply, a weird tone, a hidden detail, a social media interaction, and instead of reacting only to what happened today, she is reacting to everything that happened before. That does not make the behavior healthy, but it does help explain why the reaction can feel much bigger than the moment itself. Long distance relationships make all of this even more intense. Silence rarely feels neutral in long distance. If the messages slow down, the imagination starts working. If the calls drop, the brain fills the gap. If expectations are unclear, fear starts building its own story, 说明. And once those bottled feelings finally come out, they often come out all at once. Power imbalance is another huge piece people do not want to talk about honestly enough. In some Filipino foreigner relationships, one person clearly controls more of the money, the housing, the travel, the immigration options, the future plans, or the life direction. When that happens, jealousy can mix with fear very quickly. The fear is not always just, I might lose you. Sometimes it is also, I might lose my security, my stability, or the future I have started to picture with you. 说明. That does not mean the love is fake. It means the stakes feel higher. And when the stakes feel high, emotions get sharper. Suspicion gets louder. Reassurance starts feeling like a need, not a want. A woman in that position may not say, I feel vulnerable and scared. Instead, it may come out as questioning, monitoring, emotional pressure, or needing proof all the time. 说明. Now here's the part that matters most, because a lot of men want to talk about jealousy like it just fell from the sky and landed on their relationship for no reason. Sometimes jealousy is reacting to something real that you are doing. Are you flirting and calling it harmless? Are you enjoying attention online because it feels good for your ego? 说明. Are you replying to women who clearly do not respect boundaries? Are you hiding little things because you want to avoid conflict? 说明. Are you behaving differently in the Philippines than you would back home because suddenly you are getting more attention than you are used to? 说明. Those things matter. They do not excuse controlling behavior. They do not justify emotional punishment. But they do mean accountability is not always one-sided. 说明. Some men create instability and then act shocked when the relationship stops feeling secure. 说明. If jealousy turns into punishment, control, isolation, threats, or making you responsible for regulating someone else's emotions all day, every day, that is no longer a normal relationship issue. That is a safety issue. 说明. The second you say, you are crazy, you are overreacting, you are imagining things, the whole thing usually gets worse. 说明. Even if the fear is irrational, the feeling behind it is still real to the person feeling it. If you name the feeling instead of attacking it, you create a much better chance of actually calming the situation. 说明. Second, get specific. Vague jealousy grows in the dark. Ask what exactly triggered the feeling. 说明. Ask what story is forming in her head. Ask what she is actually afraid of losing. Shuoming, a lot of people do not even fully understand their own reaction until someone slows the moment down and asks them to explain it. Shuoming, third, reassurance matters, but reassurance without boundaries becomes poison. You can be loving without accepting constant monitoring, repeated accusations, or loyalty tests every week. Shuoming, there is a huge difference between calming an insecurity and feeding a toxic pattern. Shuoming, if jealousy turns into punishment, control, isolation, threats, or making you responsible for regulating someone else's emotions all day, every day, that is no longer a normal relationship issue. That is a safety issue. Shuoming, and finally, this part matters to Filipinas too. Security changes how you love. Shuoming, when a woman knows her worth, when she knows she can walk away from disrespect, when she knows another woman's existence does not automatically lower her value, jealousy usually gets quieter. Shuoming, not because she does not care, but because she is not loving from panic. She is loving from steadiness. That changes everything. Shuoming, so are Filipinas jealous, Shuoming? Some are not. Some are reacting to real instability. Some are reacting to old wounds. Some are insecure. Some are controlling. Shuoming, some are expressive in messy ways because they were never taught how to communicate discomfort directly. Some are calm because they feel secure. Some are calm because the relationship itself is clean and stable. Shuoming, that is the truth. Shuoming, the stereotype survives because it is easy. Real understanding is harder. Shuoming, but if you actually want a good relationship, skip the stereotype and pay attention to the deeper question. What is the jealousy really feeding on? Shuoming, because once you know that, you stop fighting the wrong battle. Shuoming,